For hundreds of years, we stared at the same ancient monuments, asked the same questions, built the same theories. How did they move those massive stones? Why did they build that? What were they thinking? And generation after generation, we just didn't know. The answers were lost to time. But something incredible happened in the last 10 years. We didn't just find a few answers. We solved mysteries that historians thought would never be solved. And we did it using technology that didn't exist when your parents were in school. Satellites orbiting Earth, computers analyzing data in seconds that would have taken decades by hand, lasers mapping hidden structures beneath jungles, DNA sequencing on ancient fragments smaller than your fingernail. Right now, we're living through the greatest era of archaeological discovery in human history. We're answering questions that have stumped humanity for centuries. Today, I'm going to show you 7 ancient mysteries that we finally, definitively solved in just the last decade. And trust me, some of these answers are way stranger than the theories we had before. Let's start with one of the most iconic images in archaeology. Those giant stone heads on a remote island in the Pacific Ocean, Easter Island, Rapa Nui. In the middle of absolutely nowhere, over 1,000 massive stone statues called MOAI stand silent. Some are 30 feet tall, some weigh over 80 tons. They have those distinctive long faces, prominent noses, and they stare inland across the island with blank stone eyes. We've known about them since Europeans arrived in the 1700s, and the same question has echoed for centuries. How did ancient people with no wheels, no metal tools, no draft animals move these massive statues across the island? Some of them traveled over 10 miles from the quarry where they were carved. 80 tons, 10 miles, across rough terrain. How theories went wild. Some people said aliens. Others suggested the island had trees that were used as rollers, but that didn't explain the logistics. The math just didn't work. Moving something that heavy would require hundreds of people and equipment that shouldn't have existed. Here's what we figured out in the last decade. The statues walked. I'm serious. In 2012, researchers built an exact replica of a MOAI and proved that the design of the statue itself is the key. The statues have a specific center of gravity. With just 3 ropes and 18 people, they could rock the statue forward, shifting its weight from side to side. Left, right, left, right. The statue literally waddles forward like it's walking. The islanders didn't move the statues lying down. They transported them upright. And here's the beautiful part. This explains something that never made sense before. Many MOAI were found abandoned along ancient roads, standing upright, as if they just stopped mid-journey. Archaeologists always wondered why they were upright. Now we know. They fell while walking, but the breakthrough didn't stop there. In 2020, new research revealed why the MOAI were built in the first place. Scientists analyzed the locations of the statues and found they were always placed near fresh water sources. The MOAI weren't gods or aliens or random art. They were markers. They told people where to find the most valuable resource on the island. Water. Mystery solved. And it took modern computer mapping and physics simulations to figure out what ancient islanders knew all along. Now, let's talk about the big one. Literally. The Great Pyramid of Giza. This thing has confused humanity for thousands of years. Built around 2500 BC, it's made of over 2 million stone blocks, some weighing 15 tons. It was the tallest structure in the world for almost 4,000 years. The precision is insane. The sides are aligned almost perfectly with true north. The base is leveled 2 within inches across 13 acres. Everyone wanted to know 2 things. How did they build it? And what's inside that we haven't found yet? In 2017, scientists used something called muon tomography to scan the pyramid. Muons are particles created when cosmic rays hit Earth's atmosphere. They pass through solid rock but leave traces we can detect. By placing detectors inside the pyramid, scientists could map the density of the structure without drilling or damaging anything. And they found something nobody expected: a massive void, hidden chamber over 100 feet long, sitting above the Grand Gallery. It's the first major internal structure discovered in the Great Pyramid since the 1800s. We still don't know what's in there, or what it was for. But after thousands of years, we proved there are still secrets inside. But here's the bigger breakthrough. In 2018, researchers discovered an ancient papyrus that finally explained how the blocks were transported. It's a diary written by an overseer named Mirror who worked on the pyramid. He describes using boats on canals to float the massive limestone blocks from quarries right to the construction site. They didn't drag millions of blocks across the desert. They built a water transportation system. Additional research using satellite imagery found the remains of these ancient canals. Technology let us see what erosion and time had hidden. The answer was there all along, buried under sand and centuries. Let's jump to England, Stonehenge. Another monument that's haunted us with questions. We knew Stonehenge was built in stages over thousands of years. We knew it aligned with the solstices. But one question bugged archaeologists forever. Where did the stones come from? The massive sarsen stones. Sure, those are local, but the smaller blue stones, they're a specific type of rock that doesn't exist anywhere near Stonehenge. In 2020, geologists finally pinpointed the exact source. Using chemical analysis and comparing mineral compositions, they traced the blue stones to the Preseli Hills in Wales. That's over 140 miles away. These ancient builders transported stones weighing up to 4 tons across rivers, valleys, and hills. The level of organization and effort is staggering. But why? Why go so far for specific stones? New theories suggest the stones themselves held spiritual significance. The Preseli Hills had their own stone circles that were dismantled. The builders of Stonehenge may have transported these sacred stones to incorporate their power into the new monument. It wasn't just about building. It was about creating something spiritually meaningful by combining sacred elements. Modern science gave us the where, but it also helped us understand the why. Now let's fly to Peru and talk about one of the most bizarre ancient creations on Earth, the Nazca Lines. Hundreds of massive geoglyphs carved into the desert. Some are simple lines. Others are intricate shapes, animals, spirals, geometric patterns. Some of these designs are over 1,000 feet long. You can only see them properly from the air. That led to the obvious question: why would ancient people create art they couldn't see? Theories included alien landing strips, astronomical calendars, religious rituals. Everyone had an idea. Nobody had proof. In 2019, researchers used drones equipped with high-resolution cameras and AI pattern recognition to map the lines in unprecedented detail. It discovered over 100 new geoglyphs that were invisible to the naked eye. But more importantly, they analyzed the locations and orientations of all the lines together. The breakthrough came from combining this mapping data with climate science. The lines align with underground water sources. During certain times of year, the lines point toward places where water would flow underground. The Nazca Lines were part of a massive water ritual system. The ancient Nazca people walked these lines in ceremonies, asking for rain and marking where precious water could be found. They weren't trying to signal aliens. They were trying to survive in a desert. And the fact that the designs are visible from above, that was for their gods, not for them. Technology let us see the full picture. Literally. Let's talk about one of the most significant textual discoveries of the 20th century, the Dead Sea Scrolls. Found in caves near the Dead Sea, starting in 1947. These ancient manuscripts included some of the oldest known copies of biblical texts, but questions remained. Who wrote them? Who hid them? How many different communities were involved? For decades, scholars debated. Then, in 2020, researchers used DNA analysis on the animal skins the scrolls were written on. By identifying the species and genetic markers of the leather, they could determine where different scrolls came from. The results were surprising. The scrolls didn't all come from one group or location. They came from multiple communities across the region, hidden together during times of conflict. This changed our understanding of ancient Jewish communities. These weren't just the possessions of one isolated sect. They represented a collaborative effort to preserve knowledge during dangerous times. Technology turned scraps of ancient leather into a map of communities and movements we never knew existed. Here's one that rewrites what we thought we knew about exploration. We knew Vikings reached North America around the year 1000. We had the settlement at L'Anse aux Meadows in Newfoundland as proof. But questions remained. When exactly did they arrive? How long did they stay? Were there other settlements? In 2021, scientists used a new technique to date the wood from L'Anse aux Meadows. They looked for a specific marker, a spike in carbon-14 caused by a massive solar storm in the year 993. Trees alive in that year show this spike in their rings. By counting rings forward from that marker, they pinpointed the exact year the Vikings cut down trees at the site. The year 1021, exactly 1,000 years before the study was published. The Vikings were definitely in North America a full 500 years before Columbus. We now have a precise date. But satellite analysis revealed something else. Thermal imaging showed potential signs of other Norse structures in the region, buried and invisible to ground surveys. The Viking presence in North America might have been larger than we ever imagined. For our final mystery, let's go to Turkey and talk about the site that changed everything we thought we knew about civilization. Göbekli Tepe. When it was discovered in the 1990s, it shocked archaeologists. Massive stone temples with intricate carvings built around 9500 BC, that's 11,000 years ago, before agriculture, before writing, before pottery. Hunter-gatherers weren't supposed to build monuments like this. For years, we didn't understand how or why. Then, in the last decade, new excavations and analysis revealed something incredible. Göbekli Tepe wasn't built by one generation. It was a project that lasted over 1,000 years. Different groups of hunter-gatherers returned to this site again and again, adding to it, maintaining it, gathering there. Residue analysis completed in 2019 showed evidence of massive feasts. Bones from hundreds of animals. They were gathering here for festivals, for rituals, for community events. And here's the kicker. Recent research suggests that the effort of repeatedly gathering here and feeding large groups may have actually driven the invention of agriculture. They needed to produce enough food to support these gatherings, so they started cultivating crops. We always thought civilization led to monuments. Göbekli Tepe suggests monuments led to civilization. They wanted to gather, so they figured out how to feed everyone. Mind-blowing. So what does all this mean? For most of human history, ancient mysteries stayed mysterious. We could theorize and guess, but we couldn't know. In just the last 10 years, technology changed that. We can see through solid rock. We can analyze DNA from fragments of ancient leather. We can map entire landscapes from space. We can simulate physics on ancient engineering projects. The past isn't as lost as we thought. It's still here, hiding in plain sight, waiting for us to develop the right tools to see it. And here's what really gets me. Every single one of these mysteries was solved not by one breakthrough, but by combining different technologies. Satellites plus computer analysis, DNA sequencing plus historical research, particle physics plus archaeology. We're living in an age where different fields of science work together in ways that were impossible before. What does that mean for the next decade? What other mysteries are we about to solve? What's hiding under the Amazon rainforest that LiDAR scanning will reveal? What will DNA analysis tell us about ancient migrations? What lost cities are waiting to be found by satellites? We're not running out of mysteries. We're just getting better at solving them. If this video changed how you think about ancient history, hit that subscribe button. We're covering the breakthroughs, the discoveries, the moments when science rewrites the history books. The past is way more interesting than what they taught you in school. Drop a comment and tell me which mystery you think we'll solve next. My money's on Atlantis being found in the next 5 years. Prove me wrong.